Ladies and gentlemen, the most electrifying podcast on earth is about to begin. How are y'all doing today? Y'all doing all right? Make some noise. Are y'all out there? Hello, how are y'all? Hey,
everybody. All right.
There we go. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live filming of Comic Creators After Dark, hosted by the great Darren Sanchez. Make some noise for Darren Sanchez.
Hello, everybody. And co-hosted by my buddy, Victor Dandridge, all the way from Ohio, USA. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome to our show. This is the podcast where we stay after a little bit.
Right.
After all the other artists have gone home.
Yes.
Because we are the hardest working.
Period.
In show business.
Absolutely.
Or in comics.
Definitely in comics. Definitely in comics. Soon to be in podcasting.
Soon to be.
Yes, that's what it is.
Maybe already are.
I mean,
yeah.
if you ask me.
But what we do here,
Yes.
I was invited to bring a team of comic book professionals to
Yes.
Morocco, and I've assembled a pretty good team. I think you guys would
I think
agree.
you have a great team, actually.
Have you met Bernard Chang?
Yes, exactly. It's been phenomenal.
Some very fun guys. But there were a lot of guys who couldn't make it to Morocco. A lot of our friends who wanted to come but could not make it for whatever reasons. So we decided to have a podcast and have them phone in.
That's right.
And be our guest and give them a chance to talk about what they've done, what they're working on now.
Right.
And then take some questions from the fine folks in Rabat here. So while you're listening today, please, if you have a question, save it, and we'll give you a chance to ask it. We have some really good guests today. Some
amazing guests.
Some big names.
Legends. Absolute legends. I can't wait to introduce them to you all. First and foremost, how many of you guys like comic books and superheroes? Raise your hand if you like superheroes. Excellent. Do we have any artists in the room? Do we have people that like to draw? Yes. Do we have people that like to write stories? Okay. All right. So this will be a great conversation for you guys because we're going to talk about some amazing storytellers. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yes. In fact, I think maybe we should give them a sneak.
You want to give them a sneak peek?
Give them a little bit of.
Okay. All right. We can give them a little taste.
We have
a little hint.
I'll let you know who we have. We have Geoff Johns.
That's right.
Geoff Johns, in case you've never heard of him, he used to be the executive creative director for DC/Warner Brothers.
That's right.
So he's made all the comics for DC. That's the Batman, Superman, Flash, Teen Titans.
He's written everybody.
And all those TV shows that came out on WB, which is Flash, Arrow. What else? There was
Stargirl. Stargirl.
Yeah.
The Legends of Tomorrow. Supergirl, like he had a hand in all of those, which was absolutely amazing. Did you guys see Shazam? He helped write that iteration of Shazam into the comics, along with the other guest that we're bringing out. So that's gonna be super cool. Okay, so we've got about 2 minutes left. We have time for maybe one question, if anyone wants to ask us before our guests come on and we announce them.
I'm wondering is there any idea about introducing a Moroccan villain or Moroccan superhero on comics books, on DC Comics?
That is a great question. In fact, earlier today, we had our team of artists creating 2 original Moroccan heroes and 1 Moroccan villain. So who knows what we might do with that? I mean, like literally, we created them on the spot with the help of the audience. Who was here? Was anyone here to see that earlier?
We created them literally
man.
an hour ago.
Yeah, it was insane. Live and direct. It was awesome. So who knows? They might appear in some comics coming up soon.
And I like that you said or a villain.
That's right.
Because a lot of times people want representation, but they want to dictate what kind of representation they get, like a hero, a villain, because sometimes those villains become the heroes, like Venom.
True.
And there's some great characters that started off as villains, and you never know where they're going to go. So if you're looking for Moroccan heroes, we've been working on that, because believe me, even the last time we came here in Casablanca, we got that question a lot.
Yeah.
Why aren't there more female heroes? Why aren't there more Moroccan heroes and villains? So, but you're the first to mention the villains. But we've been thinking about them too. So, like we produced the football comic before we came here.
We might do that.
These characters that we're creating, we are proposing to the minister to possibly create a Moroccan comic book before we come to the next show. So that could happen.
That would be amazing. Who is your favorite villain turned hero?
Probably Venom.
Really? Black Widow for me. Yeah.
I didn't read her when she was a villain, so I just can't think of her.
You always see her as a hero. I get it. I get it. No, that's very, very true. It's very true. It looks like we got at least one on. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do have our guests on.
Yep, we sure do. Are you guys ready? No, come on now. They'll never believe that we have a live audience. Are y'all ready? Hey, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, piping in. Hey, first and foremost, we have Mr. Gary Frank in the building. Hello, Gary. How are we doing today, man?
Hey, Victor. How are you? I'm good.
Doing fantastic. Gary, this is Darren Sanchez. Darren has been such a fan of yours. When I told him that you were coming on, he called me a liar. He was like, there's no way you got Gary Frank to come on.
Well, in fairness, I called him a liar way before that, too.
Also true.
Good to meet you, Darren.
How are you, Gary? I've been a fan since your Hulk run with Peter David, and everything you've done, including Kin, I've read and I've looked forward to, and in fact, one of my favorite covers ever is the Hulk battling Hercules with the white background. That cover, that's just an iconic cover. As an editor at Marvel, I did an homage to that for an ESPN. For an ESPN piece, I forgot which. I think it was Ohio State versus Indiana.
Yes, it was.
Ohio State, Indiana.
That's right.
It was an homage to that cover. And if I had thought of it, I would have put it into the deck that we're about to watch. But
next time.
My bad.
Next time.
Next time.
So Gary, where are you calling in from?
Lucca, Italy.
Oh wow, so you're in Italy right now. Okay, nice. I wasn't sure if you were in the UK or in the States or where. So what's the time out there? How far away are you from us?
Just gone 6:30 in the evening.
Oh, so you're ahead of us. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're calling us from the future. He's from the future, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you want me to let you know what happens?
Yes. Please, let me know what the lottery numbers are. We've got a couple minutes while we're waiting for Geoff Johns to join us. But we're going to have a great conversation talking about all things Ghost Machine and before. So get ready. We're going to go through the memory banks there, Gary.
In fact, we can start a little bit.
You want to start a little bit?
Because our audience here in Rabat, Morocco may not be as familiar as what you're drinking there.
That's a good bit of wine.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
Little Glenmorangie.
There we go. When in Italy.
He is in Italy, folks.
That's right.
That's like water over there. Okay. All right. So I would like to familiarize our audience with your work a little bit. You know what? We have Geoff on the line.
Oh, we got Geoff too.
So let's welcome Geoff, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Mr. Geoff Johns. Hey, Geoff, we're calling in live from Rabat, Morocco. We got this whole audience here psyched up to see you. Where are you calling in from, sir?
I'm in Los Angeles, California right now.
There we go.
And that's your breakfast coffee, I'm guessing.
Yes, it is.
Early coffee. Yeah.
Bright in the morning. It's just after 9:30 for Geoff.
Yeah.
He's set up in his office. Yo, I love that poster behind you.
Oh, yeah, that's from a special edition of Superman that I worked on when I worked for Dick Donner.
I love it.
It was like and they printed like 10 posters. They put out in the theaters for a minute.
Wow.
Like 10 posters, and he signed it to me. So, and then that's just my favorite movie of all time.
I mean, Back to the Future is a classic. How many of you guys have ever seen Back to the Future? Yes, you guys got to see that one. It's a fantastic movie. Geoff, we also have Gary on as well. So we're going to jump right into chatting with you guys. What do we have up first for this showcase of this amazing talent.
Yeah, Geoff, we were just telling Gary that our audience here in Rabat, Morocco, we'd like to familiarize them a little bit with some of your past work before we jump into the Ghost Machine stuff.
Yes.
So we're going to take you a little bit down memory lane on the slideshow.
What time is it over there?
It is 5:35 out here.
All right, cool.
Right.
Yes.
I always wanted to be from Morocco.
But it's even later for Gary. He's a whole hour ahead of us.
Right, he is Back to the Future,
yeah.
as we were saying. Okay, so we're going to just take you through the slide, and guys, chime in with whatever comes to mind when you see.
Here we go.
Here's some past work from the guys. So either one of you, please let us know your thoughts on these.
Oh my God! Well, I will say one. Gary's going to talk about most of these, but I will say that the Avengers in the center there. That's the first time Gary Frank and I ever worked together. I was a huge fan of Gary's from the Hulk, and I asked Tom Brevoort, who was my editor on Avengers at the time, a long time ago. I'd love to work with Gary. He's like one of my favorite artists of all time. And luckily enough, we got to work on 2 issues of Avengers, and that's where we started.
That's amazing. I love that.
Beautiful.
Darren too was a fan from the Hulk days of Gary, so y'all got that in common.
Absolutely. All right, Gary, how about you? Any of these bring to mind anything?
Yeah, I mean, the you just mentioned just now that Hulk Hercules cover. It's funny because I broke through on Hulk, so I've got huge fond memories of being like a kid in my parents' house in the kitchen drawing stuff on the kitchen table, and it was all the Hulk stuff of my first run, and then later I came back and I did some of that, and it's kind of I love Hulk so much, but I've never really done a proper Savage Hulk run. That was always kind of a thing. It felt like I kind of missed out on that classic Savage Hulk, but
That's fair.
It's never too late, man.
Are you trying to move them back? I see what you're doing there. I see what you did there.
We kind of have a Savage, a thread of Savage Hulk within Geiger.
Ooh, now
Just
that's
because
exciting.
Geiger gets so violent and so angry. But Gary and I both love the Hulk. I love the Savage Hulk as well.
I love it. I love it. One of the things I love here with that Captain America piece right next to the Hulk one is the casual strength that Cap wields. So often we almost forget that he's superhuman. Like the super soldier serum gave him super strength, and it's always wonderful when you see them use it in a very casual sort of way. What was the thoughts when you were creating that?
Just to do something kind of just like very down to earth. The fact that is kind of the nature of Captain America, right? Is that he's just he's just a regular decent guy, and he just happens to to have this ability to do tremendous amounts of good with it. I think that's kind of his charm, right?
Absolutely.
It's also casually very strong composition. Even the color choice on the logo, so that it blends with the clouds and makes you look right at Cap. So I think it's a beautiful cover, guy.
Masterclass. Absolute masterclass.
All right, now this slide was just designed to show you guys that they've done Marvel work. They've done a ton of Marvel work because most of the rest of these are not Marvel. So we'll get into some of these.
Yes.
These are the DC. I could have probably put 100 different images on there
easily,
but I chose 4 that might give them some fun stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. What do you got on these guys?
Jeff?
Oh, I guess. Well, I mean, Gary. I called after Avengers. Gary signed exclusive to Marvel. I signed exclusive to DC. And for years, I would ask Gary. It felt like years, but it was probably Gary only like 3 or 4 years, maybe, right? 3 years.
Yeah, probably. Time moved slower in those days when we were younger, didn't it?
It sure did.
Now it's.
Now blast by. 3 years. I'd call Gary, or I'd reach out to Gary every 6 months and be like, "Hey, are you available to work on something?" And he never was. And then we lined up with Superman. So one of the images there, Superman Secret Origin. We worked on Superman for quite a while. We did, I guess, 3 big stories: Superman,
Huge.
Superman Brainiac, and Superman Secret Origin.
Which I've just received. I just received the absolute edition of those, and it's just such a huge book. And thinking that doesn't even include Doomsday Clock, which is another Superman story. We just spent so much time on, in that world.
It's a big chunk of your life right there in there.
Yeah.
I really love how you use the Christopher Reeve looking face, kind of the homage to Christopher Reeve. It's just, guys, what do you think of the art on those covers,
What do you guys think? Yeah? Love it.
Just
Absolutely love it.
fantastic.
Well, the Superman of the movies was my Superman as a kid, because I mean, I grew up in England, and I basically had access to Marvel comics, and I was a Marvel kid, and I didn't really see much DC stuff, so I never really kind of was exposed to Superman in form. So for me, it was the movie character was the Superman that I grew up with, and when we were kind of planning on what we were going to do with Superman, obviously that was kind of a source. That was something that I drew upon.
Now, Gary, aside from Rampaging Hulk, is there a character that you have wanted to draw your whole career but never gotten a chance to?
My favorite character was always, when I was a kid, my favorite character was always the Silver Surfer, and I've had a few chances to draw him. In fact, Peter David asked me if there was a character that I wanted to draw, and which was the book that he put him? That wasn't Peter David. Who was it? We got Silver Surfer into a Hulk story, into a planet. Yeah, but what was the story now? Oh my God, I'm so old. My brain.
Not so old. You've just done so much great work. That's what it is.
Thanks. The thing was that I always kind of felt that I've got like a Silver Surfer in me, and it's never really kind of come out exactly how. So periodically, I try and
Geoff, same question to you as a writer. Is there one that you've always wanted to tackle?
Besides the Savage Hulk, the Hulk, yeah, I mean, I didn't have a huge, long stint at Marvel, so there's characters at Marvel from X-Men. I love the X-Men. Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four. I got to write a Thing miniseries, and I loved the Thing.
That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah,
but the Hulk is the one I'd like to like. The Hulk is the only one I really would love to do before I am off this planet Earth.
I could see that. The Thing is sort of like the Hulk with more humor in it, I think, or more opportunity for tragedy and humor. That's a good one.
Geoff, I'm going to ask you to bring back your holiday theme piece with Santa Claus and Beaster Bunny. I've been waiting for you to do those. I just want you to know.
Yeah. I gotta put those in a comic.
Please
somewhere.
do. Please do.
They actually would fit right into Hyde Street, no problem.
Yes, come on, it's right there.
All right, we're gonna hit a couple more here before we get into your current stuff. Geoff, this one's more on you. Any memories you'd like to share with us about any of these?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
I know it's a lot. It's a lot.
A lot of memories. It's a lot of memories. All great memories. To be honest, Smallville. So I started writing in television. I knew some people at Smallville. I had an idea for a Legion episode. I love the Legion of Superheroes. That's another book I would have loved to Gary and I got to do this story, Superman and the Legion of Superheroes. I don't know if the Legion of Superheroes is even known that
absolutely
well.
No.
Okay, so but I did an episode with the Legion of Superheroes in Smallville, and then they asked me to do another one. And I did Justice Society. I brought Stargirl in there, and Dr. Fate, Hawkman, and then Booster Gold, and Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. But Smallville was kind of my first job in television, connected to my passion for comic books and DC, and kind of merging them together. Which is I got that from Dick Donner's Superman. Much like Gary, that was really influential on me. And so then when we started working on Arrow, I got to work on, Greg Berlanti asked me about The Flash because I had just relaunched Flash,
right.
Flash Reboot, Flashpoint, and that developed out of that. That was really fun, and Stargirl came out of that. And I've been really fortunate because I feel like I've gotten to usher in from the Legion to Booster Gold to Blue Beetle, the Justice Society, tons of characters in Stargirl, a lot of the rogues, like a lot of the Flash mythology I got to put on screen for the first time.
That's
and that
right.
was really, really cool.
That's awesome.
I love all those characters. And the guy who directed my first Glenn Winter, who directed my first episode of Smallville featuring the Legion, ended up directing the Captain Cold episode of Flash I wrote, and then directed the pilot of Stargirl. He also directed the pilot of Doom Patrol and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow. So I randomly got assigned Glenn Winter as a director on the Legion of Smallville, and then he turned into like one of my big partners in television.
That's fantastic.
I like that you use your buddies and your friends, because they're people you trust, and I completely understand that.
And Darren, you know how hard it is to find both you guys know how hard it is to find a creative partner that you connect with. Whether it's in comics or film or TV. That's why Gary and I have worked together for probably longer than most of you kids in the audience.
Yeah. Well, before we came to Morocco, I was assigned to produce a comic book to celebrate the Moroccan national football team or soccer team's World Cup run from 2022. And we had like 2 months to do a 20-page story, and it wasn't, not a single word was written yet, and there was likeness approvals and a lot to go on with that. So the only way I could accomplish it was to get two of my best friends in comics, which is Sean Chen and Bernard Chang. Bernard did the cover, Sean did the interior. He's like a machine, and I knew it would be great. And we got it done, and the audience has the book in their hands.
That's
and
right.
We've been signing.
Can you put it up for me
week.
one more time? Can you wave your book?
Cool.
Yeah. There we go.
So
I like that.
Know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, Sean and Bernard, they're awesome artists too. Good
Absolutely.
people.
So we're going to go to the last slide here. If we could see the slides one more time.
Yes, indeed. Now joining back.
Okay, he'll get it up there in 1 second. And all right, now, any of you guys recognize this image?
You guys know
anything
these
familiar
characters?
up there?
Absolutely. Shazam was featured very prominently in the Snyderverse, created off of your Shazam run for the New 52. How exciting was that for you guys?
I'll let Gary start because I know he was super as excited as me. He was just very excited about that.
Yeah, I love that book. I love that book so much. It's just one of my favorite books that I've ever worked on. It was just so nice. It was, I think, where kind of Geoff and I, we really kind of had, I think we've had a degree of creative freedom with all of them, but it just really felt like such a kind of just a special project. Just really, really loved doing it. And it was really, really nice to see so much of that kind of make it up onto the screen. Fantastic.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Jeff, what about you?
Well, when I worked on the book, I love Shazam. I love Captain Marvel and mythology, and no one was really interested in doing a movie on the character because they considered him kind of old, and I understood that, but I love the character, and Gary and I both share a passion for emotional storytelling, and it was really diving into kids and diversifying that group and making that Shazam family actually. To me, his greatest superpower he can fly, he can lift a car, whatever it is. His greatest superpower is that he can share his power with family. And that he's done that since 1940, whatever.
Absolutely.
He shared it with Freddie and Mary. And so expanding that, making that story about connection with family, connection with not blood family, but found family. And then having that power unlock when Billy unlocks, and that great spread, which I own. I bought from Gary.
Oh, do you really?
When the kids turn and there's a double-page spread of kids as the superheroes, and that moment in the movie is so emotionally reflective of that moment in the comic books, because you really earn that relationship, and that like when Billy says Shazam and they all become superheroes. All these kids who've watched a kid become a superhero now all have superpowers. That was really exciting to me. That translated, that emotional journey and arc and theme and the visuals translated. That was really cool. And to see all these new characters like Darla, who I absolutely love, and Pedro and Eugene make it onto the screen along with their foster family. Like that was really exciting.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. One of the things I loved the most about the whole presentation, both from comic to movie, was the heart. Like you said, Shazam has been seen as an old modeled character, and you modernized him so wonderfully, making him very contemporary, but still super accessible for longtime fans. And that's not easy to do. That's a talent to both you as a writer and Gary as an artist to kind of bridge that gap. to have those fans that have been fans since and make new fans today. It was absolutely fantastic of a series. I love it still to this day.
Thanks.
He's such sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Gary.
I was just going to say he's such a pure distillation of the superhero thing as well. If kids are kind of since the 40s and 50s reading these comic books where they're kind of living vicariously through these characters, that this character even more than Superman, it allows a kid to do that because he's still a kid when he's a superhero.
Right.
And it's just such a pure form of the superhero.
Yes,
completely agree. And I also like how you put a little bit of an edge on Billy Batson. He wasn't so innocent, but at the same time he still was innocent, and that's great, like manipulation of the archetype to keep him genuinely innocent, but still kind of have an edge, and that's a fine line.
Absolutely.
All right, so. One of the things we wanted to talk about, we want to give you guys a chance to promote what you're doing now.
Yes.
It's a really exciting thing that called Ghost Machine. And if we could get the slide deck back up, please.
One of the things that I think is so very interesting about Ghost Machine is the opportunity that you are creating for yourselves. Clearly, we've been showcasing work from Marvel and DC, which are bigger companies that have been owned by corporations for decades, but we're now in a space where very talented people can take the reins themselves and make themselves more successful than they ever have by creating their own work. And Geoff and Gary have kind of kicked off this new imprint called Ghost Machine. Guys, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Like what is Ghost Machine?
Yes.
Gary, you want to start? You want me to start?
Well, it kind of started out with something much more than it eventually became. It just started out with, we just kind of wanted to do a little create-our-own thing and just do our own thing and it not be locked into a wider universe or be part of a company's broader output. So we just kind of, we talked about, Geoff had a few different ideas for a few characters and we kind of talked about a few. And we went with Geiger, and at that point, it was never kind of conceived that it would be some kind of a shift in the way that we would kind of set up. We would set up a company in a way in which everybody kind of owns a little piece of the company. All of the creators kind of come in, and everybody's got not just creative autonomy, but they're all part of the company. And yeah, it was just an idea which started with a creative core, which I guess is probably the best way to do it, and then it just kind of grew and became something bigger.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting because it grew, like Ghost Machine. After we did Doomsday Clock, Gary and I really, Gary, I'm a superhero fanatic. Gary, he likes superheroes, but it's, he didn't grow up in the same kind of comic book environment I did, and so he loves all genres, and a lot of the characters we did, he never even knew before, and so we talked about doing something after Doomsday Clock that wasn't straight superheroes, that was different, and Image Comics have been asking me to do something forever. So we pitched Geiger, where we could control the schedule, so we knew when it would come out, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And then we did Junkyard Joe, which to me is, and Gary, I know you'd agree, is up there with Shazam in terms of just the pure emotional part of the story. I love that. Look, Junkyard Joe is like this encapsulated book that reminds me a lot of Shazam in terms of just tone, and that it's all about heart. But then we started talking about, you guys know how this business is. It's tough on creators. It's really tough. And we had these organic conversations with Brian Hitch and Jason Fabok and Brad Meltzer and Francis Manipul and everybody else that's a part of Ghost Machine about how do you, if this worked and we want to do more books, but how do we make a better company? How do we all have experience in everything from publishing to film to video games to merchandise to novel writing and comic books being our focus. How do we make a better company for all of us? Because we all wanted to work together. You guys, like you said earlier, Darren, you want to work with people you trust. That's exactly what it is. And so we ended up coming up, we built it over 2 years, built this idea of we'd all do these comics, but we all own them. We all own the company on every level completely together. So it's not just a creator-owned comic, but a creator-owned company and a creator-run company. We as creators run the company.
Okay,
Absolutely.
With a group like that, there has to be some kind of plan? I mean, like how many titles, which ones come first? How do you guys come out with those kinds of things? Do you talk them out, or is there like one leader who makes the decisions, or how does that work?
Well, we talk them out. We brainstorm, what's the best rollout. But we spent a year and a half, 2 years just building the skeleton, the economic infrastructure that we knew we needed. This is what we need to work to make this plan work, right? This is kind of the business side of it. I like when I show ran Stargirl for 3 years, I had a balance a budget of tens and tens of millions of dollars, and I liked it. It was fun to kind of figure out, how do I spend this money to put Stripe up on this, a giant robot up on the screen.
Yes.
That's all I cared about, is how do I spend every penny to make this look good. And so we built a plan that would allow us to make the best comics we could possibly make, from cardstock covers and the best quality paper to the best artists and writers and really small. Like, we're not out there. We made a plan. We don't want to publish 60 books a month. We're going to publish, between 3 to 7 or something like that. But we made a plan, but we were very meticulous about how we wanted to roll out. We didn't want to just launch with 100 books. We wanted to really just make it character focused. So we introduced Geiger and Redcoat and Rook, and really roll these books out slowly when they're ready, make them emotional stories, and make them characters, so that when you think about Ghost Machine books, you think about a lineup of characters rather than just a smattering of books.
Well, speaking of the lineup of characters,
yes.
Do they all exist in one universe, or are these individual titles like Old School Image, or how is it? How does that work?
They're both. So when we did our Ghost Machine one shot, we really sat down to say what creatively works the best. Mm-hmm. And with Geiger and Redcoat and Junkyard Joe, there's this timeline it's called the Unnamed Universe. It's kind of genre heroes, superhero adjacent. So we have one universe that commingles. We have a sci-fi universe called Rook Exodus that is its own universe. We have a horror universe called Hyde Street that its own universe, and then we have a universe of books called Family Odysseys that Pete Tomasi, who did Super Sons and Batman and Robin and Superman, heads up, and that's the Rockefellers and Hornsby and Halo, and those books kind of are like a modern day Hanna-Barbera, line. Like, it's right. So we have different universes. They have 4 universes, but they're all by genre. So if you look at it, it's horror, sci-fi, family, and action adventure.
That's a really smart approach, actually. Old Valiant did something similar with that, and I know Marvel also. They break down their books into families, as far as the FF family, the X family, the Spider family, and I think DC does the same thing with their editorial groups, and so that makes a ton of sense. And it's not easy to start a new comic book company. The sales that you need to keep it going. I know some companies, they use Kickstarter as far as like direct to the consumer sort of business model. Are you going to the comic shops or doing both, perhaps?
We're focused on comic shops right now, strictly in bookstores, and digital. We haven't really. Kickstarter's definitely on a list of discussions, but we have no plans to do Kickstarter right now.
I think one of the things that Ghost Machine does so well is it props up the future of comic book retail, which I've always said for a while has been that it needs to switch to a genre-based presentation, not just publisher-based, because you'll actually gain more folks coming in across the board if they can go per genre, because you could go from Marvel to DC to Ghost Machine and not have to leave the single aisle, but find all the things that you want. And so I love that both you are setting up for genre as well as focusing on comic shops, which really need a lot of our support right now as creatives, almost more than they ever have.
Before superheroes took over, it was like the comic books were westerns and romance comics, all that. Like,
and it still is here in Italy. Here in Italy, there are all genres still catered. We've spoken a lot. There's been a lot of consultation with retailers and stuff as well, and kind of asking them, well, what do you need? Because and there's definitely the impression that this is not a question that they've been being asked, so much lately. So they've got a lot of opinions. They've got a lot of things that they wanted to express, and a lot of things that they felt that they needed, which would make their lives a little bit easier. And ultimately, we need retailers. We need everybody to be kind of succeeding. We need Marvel and DC to be selling lots of comics because we need people going into these shops, and we need these shops to be healthy. So everybody's kind of interlocked. It's a very symbiotic relationship. And it starts with the retailer.
So what's the next big book to come out down the line? What's scheduled to come out next week or next month?
Well, this week, a Red Coat issue. So last month, Geiger 1, Red Coat 1, Rook Exodus 1 came out, and Geiger 2 came out last week. Red Coat number 2 is out this week. Rook Exodus number 2 is out next week, and then those books will continue. Our next big launch is with myself and Ivan Reese are launching our horror book, Hyde Street, which is kind of like Twilight Zone meets Blackest Night, if people know Blackest Night. It's kind of it's both a serialized story and an anthology at the same time, but it has a broader character-based tapestry behind it of horror. And Ivan started his comic book career in horror, which is cool. So he's returning to those roots, but that comes out in October. So we have our first 3 ongoing books going, and then our next launch is October.
That's awesome.
All right, now you being in LA, do you have people already knocking at your door trying to get the rights to this, to find the next Invincible or Walking Dead or whatever it is, or how's that going? If you can talk about any of that.
We do, but we're focused on the comics. Like Geiger is already set up as a television show. We set that up last year before the strike hit. But we're focused on getting the books out before we do anything. We really want the books to be great. We want the characters to be great. That's where our creative focus is for the time being. All that said, yes, people are calling, but we're being very judicious about what we do.
Of course, super smart. Well, we're going to give our audience a chance to ask a question or two if they have. Guys, if you have any questions.
You guys want to ask any questions?
Aya, I'm from Rabat, and I wanted to ask you, from your perspective view, what do you prefer? Do you prefer like drawing on? Prefer drawing on digital or traditional art?
Oh, that's a great question. Gary, can we get you to answer that one? Do you prefer drawing digitally or traditionally?
Traditional. As I said earlier in the interview, I'm very old. I started that way, and I will probably go out that way, kicking and screaming. I just prefer it. I like it. I like the fact that you never really know entirely how something's going to come out.
Right.
I just like it. It just needs to feel real. And also, I find that I'm kind of very motivated by seeing a stack of pages pile up. It kind of makes me want to add one more page. And in a way that I don't think it would be the same if I was looking at them in a file. So I kind of like finishing a week with and seeing that page, that stack of pages grow a little bit.
We've got a cool bag that we're going to give you at the end of this. So feel free to sit still there, but we're going to give you a bag. Darren and I are going to sign it, and we're going to give that to you before you get out of here. Does anyone else have a question? Hello.
Awesome.
What's your name?
Hello, my name is Miriam.
Hi.
Hi, Miriam.
What's your question?
What are your thoughts about the transition of Marvel books, Marvel stories turning into books and
That's a good one.
into TV shows?
So we can even talk, not even just Marvel, but like every comic book turned to a new media, right? Do you guys like when they do like more closely direct adaptations, or do you like when there's an opportunity for new stories to be told using comics, specific stories as the basis?
Or for changing things.
Yeah.
How do you feel about changing things when you adapt from a comic to a movie or a TV show?
I mean, personally, I think like it's like Gary and I talk about the DNA of it, the emotion. If the emotional DNA is like what the book's about or what the character's about, like Superman, there's DNA in him, and Shazam, and all these characters. It's not really about how long the cape is, right? Is the cape too long or short? Yeah, I always say if you blur your eyes and the costume looks like the costume, then it's probably fine.
Right,
but
or the pants on the outside, or the
yeah. I mean that's like that stuff's cool, but I'm more interested in the emotional story. Is this an Iron Man movie? Is this Flash TV show? Is this capturing the spirit and the essence of that character. And if it is, I'm on board. You know, with Stargirl, I think captured the essence of the Justice Society, but it was set in high school, and it's still, you know, the JSA isn't set in high school, but
Right.
it still felt. I think a lot of the old school fans felt the DNA was on point. Our compass was aligned right. So,
Definitely.
you know, so that we got a lot of old school fans liking that show.
My name is Yusuf, and I
Hello.
have a question for you. Do you think that AI on the following years can match the human creativity and take over the industry of comics?
Whoa, that's a big question. That's a big question. Do our esteemed guests want to chime in on that one? Could AI ever go full Ultron and take over the comic book industry unto itself and take out the human experience or human element to creating comics?
I think it could, and I think that will eventually be the end of it. Or because I think people, when they look for art and they look for stories and they look for that kind of thing, they're looking for humanity. Mm-hmm. They're looking for a piece of soul. They're looking for emotion. They're not looking for a scraped facsimile of that emotion. People want a writer to write a story from their heart.
Absolutely.
They want to look at the line that an artist has drawn and know that an artist has drawn that line. I'm sure for a little while, much like when Pixar started making animated movies, and there was, obviously there's not going to be any point in drawing a regular animation anymore. But it has its place, and for a couple of years, everybody is okay. Yeah, this is great, but then it just slots in alongside everything else. And I feel that's probably going to be the way with most of these things, in that there will always be a requirement on a kind of a spiritual level to have art that comes from a person, rather than something which is just scraped from a million people and rearranged and repackaged.
I totally agree. Now, a metaphor we came up with for this was if I could build an android that could play like Messi, and I built 10 of them plus a goalkeeper on Buno, say, for instance, would you want to watch that team destroy all the other teams, or would you rather still watch your favorite team?
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah. But you'd probably need to build a Virgil van Dijk for the center of defense, because I can't imagine a Messi doing that.
Yeah, Messi's not very good as center back.
Absolutely.
So that's true. Good point there.
We've got time for one more question. One more question. We have someone right here in the front, if you don't mind. Hello, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Ayamar. So I have a very important question.
Yes.
I'm curious to know whether you prefer live action adaptations or animated ones.
Ooh,
Thank you.
That is a great question. So in terms of adaptations for your comic stories, would you prefer live action or something a little bit more forgiving and creative in a lot of ways, animation? That's for either one of you to answer that one.
I think we might all... Go ahead.
I'm currently obsessed with X-Men '97. So,
Yes.
No, I love it so much. I was watching an episode literally last night. I'm like, this show it's so well done. It's so emotional, and it's so X-Men. And I didn't really watch the old one.
Right.
But I love the show. So I would, if it's good, it's good. I don't really have a animation or live action. It doesn't really matter to me. If it's good, it's good. But it's got to have that essence and that soul.
That's right. That's right. Gary, what about you?
I would say the same thing. I would say that the Batman the Animated Series is, that stands up against anything which has ever been done in live action. But it doesn't mean that I don't still adore Michael Keaton's Batman. So,
That's
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed to watch a cartoon in front of people.
That's right.
Invincible, I think, is a
good
great
one?
example of a good cartoon. And then The Boys is live action, and I feel like it's equally as good. So I enjoy both mediums. It really just depends on the characters and the stories, and whether or not they're for me. So it could be either one.
Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, make some noise, show all the love for Mr. Gary Frank and Geoff Johns. Thank you guys for joining us, literally spanning the globe to join everyone here in Rabat today. We appreciate you so very much for taking the time with your talent, your stories, and sharing everything with all of us. Sincerely,
and
love
guys,
you guys.
one last thing
Yes.
before you go. We may end up coming back to Morocco before too long, so don't be surprised to get an invite for
That's right.
for an actual trip. If I know you guys are very busy, but yeah, you might get an invite to come join the team and,
Yes.
and meet the crew. We're having a great time out here. The food's great, and they're treating us really well. So
It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks
I
everybody
love
for
Moroccan
thank you guys.
Thank you so very much.
Darren. Thanks everybody who
Thank
stayed.
you.
Read more Ghost Machine, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be the thing. Read Ghost Machine.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Make some noise for Mr. Darren Sanchez. I've been your co-host, Victor Dandridge. This has been Comic Creators After Hours. Thank you guys so much. Please continue to come back. These will be uploaded on YouTube on the After Hours Press page. Watch them. Watch all of them because we've had some great conversations with some great people. So if you weren't here, that's your chance to catch up and see all the things that Darren knows and the people that he kicks it with. It's awesome.
Also, not just our podcast, but a lot of the stuff we've done in the week that we've been here.
That's right.
Including the sketch battles, which have been crazy. We've had professional artists dueling and drawing with the crowd cheering them on like a wrestling match, and it was crazy. So there's a lot of great content that we'll post as soon as I get back to New York and have a chance to post it all. But thank you all for coming, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.
Check this out.